Another Life is a dysfunctional joyride through space in a quest to investigate a signal from an ancient artifact that mysteriously parked itself on Earth. It's one of those shows that when things seem like they can't get any worse, they do. I won't go into too much detail for brevity's sake, but I want to give a quick recap of the show before it hits Netflix on October 14th. This should help for people who saw the show in 2019 but forgot it in 2 years' time. The story revolves around Nico, an astronaut with a sordid past, and her husband, a scientist who is trying to figure out what the heck the giant artifact wants. Studying it on the ground while Nico captains a ship called the Silvari to where a signal from the artifact is coming from, on a planet they are calling Pi Canis Majoris. A new stasis technology on the Silvari allows the entire crew to hibernate in a soma tube and wake up when they get to their destination.
The trip is 6 months. 3 months there, 3 months back.
If all goes as planned.
The first glimpse the audience sees of Nico in space is when she's awakened by the onboard AI to find out what they thought was their destination was a reflection from a cloud of dark matter, adding months to their trip because it's not safe to just go through the cloud. Much of the first half of the show is the crew questioning Nico's authority. She was sent into space because the normal captain Ian of the Silvari is a hothead. We find this out in the first episode, making me wonder why he was allowed to go on a mission like this in the first place. But it moves the story along, creating the much needed conflict character-driven stories thrive on. Ian is aggressive and can't accept he's not in control. He gets his crewmates to commit mutiny on Nico by drugging her and stuffing her back in soma sleep after she nearly kicks all their asses. Nico's quickly awoken by August, the ship engineer, who realizes they need her expertise. Ian just makes things worse, completely wrecking the ship and acting like a child throwing a temper tantrum. When Ian comes at Nico with a knife, she kicks him into a cloud of static electricity. The plot is simple: get to Pi Canis Majoris and try to make contact with the aliens. But the crew members aboard the Silvari have a propensity for fucking things up. There are a lot of alien chemicals and entities that get on the ship, affecting the crew's brain chemistry much like many a Star Trek episode. When one crew member dies, the replacements are pulled out of soma sleep. Much exposition is doled out during Nico's dreams, and Nico's subconscious desires and thoughts come flooding out in the strangeness of soma sleep. Another Life is a character-driven show that slowly moves the plot along, but that's okay because the psychological character development makes for great dramatic tension. Every time they leave the ship, something is brought on board that nearly kills the crew. By the end, the protagonists Nico and Cass finally land on Zakar, the planet they've been calling Pi Canis Majoris. They talk with an AI that has been monitoring humanity since they sent out a radio signal 100 years prior. A signal that was sent out in the 70s in real life, making me put the society Nico lives in somewhere in the late 21st century. They figure out the artifacts come from a people called the Kaya, the ones that sent the signal and already nearly killed all the people on Zakar. Nico and Cass decide to use the weapon on their ship to destroy the Kaya's artifact on Zakar, and then vow to destroy the artifacts on the 300 other planets revealed by the AI in Zakar. The show ends on a cliffhanger, as we see the crew watch a fleet of artifacts destroy Zakar. Back on Earth, Nico's husband is entering an agreement with the Kaya in order to save their daughter from a leukemia that the artifact inflicted her with. While Nico and her crew are still very far from home and without a way to warn Earth of the Kaya's lust for destruction. I'm guessing season 2 will deal with Nico's crew doing as much as they can to save Earth and the other planets affected by the artifacts before complete destruction from the Kaya. But is it too late? There are still members of the crew sleeping in Soma, and I'm sure season 2 will be set up similar to season 1. When it seems as if things couldn't get any worse, they do. And in season 2, the writers are going to have to think of ways to raise the stakes even higher than they already are.